It probably won't be on the event, but it'll show up as
How do I
live on the
flip
thing.
it?
I'll try and find it and share it to.
Hit it twice. Oh, I got it. Yep. I'm not great with technology, evidently.
Evening, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. If you don't know who I am or why you're even here, I am Jason, the race director, the Badger Mountain Challenge. Thank you very much for being out here to help out. You guys are the best. You may not know it, but you are the most important part of this race. Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Everyone thinks it's the runners. Hi, Jess. Hi, Jill. Everyone thinks it's the runners, and that's true. I love the runners, of course, but the volunteers are what makes the race. So you people are what, and everyone who's going to be helping you are why we have such a good turnout, and that's why we have so many people come back year after year after year, okay? It's because the volunteers make it amazing. So you're going to get out of it what you put into it, and the veterans will tell you that. The more fun you have, the bigger show you put on, make it fun, make it loud, play music, do whatever you want. You're going to own your aid station, and make it fun, because you might as well have fun instead of standing there freezing your butt off. And all the runners will appreciate it, and they'll give that energy back tenfold. And I always get rave reviews on the volunteers at this race, and it ain't me that makes this event awesome. It's the volunteers. So thank you 1,000 times. Thank you for what you do. So let's get down to business here. I'll try and keep it short. COVID rules obviously are very relaxed. When I applied for the 4 permits I need for this race, things were a bit different. That was back in October or so. So at the time I applied for waves of 50 and they accepted it. So we're going to start the race in waves of 50, but there obviously is no mask mandate anymore or anything like that. So you don't have to. If you want to wear one, obviously, please do. Same goes for the runners. They're not required to anymore. But if they want to wear them, that's great. It's a personal choice. That being said, sanitation is still a very important thing and always is at races. So a couple things have changed because of COVID, and you might not believe this, but they've actually changed for the better. And one of those things that changed was how the runners get food at the aid stations. Used to be a runner would come running up after he'd been 5-6 miles from the last aid station, and he'd be all sweaty, and he'd have like stuff coming out of him. You ever look at a runner, they're generally pretty gross. And he's doing this kind of stuff. And you go, oh, M&Ms, and he'd grab a big handful of Skittles or M&Ms. And then the next runner would do the same thing. Ugh. So, the nice part, and even before COVID, and I'm not a germaphobe, before COVID, that freaked me out. So, what we're going to do is, it used to be the volunteer and the food and the runner. Now we're going to have the food and the volunteer and another table with no food on it and the runner. So they tell you what you want or what they want, and you hand it to them. You can put a display on the table in front of you if you want. You can put samples. You can take down stuff so it doesn't blow away, whatever. Make it fun. Have fun with it. But don't leave the food out where the nasty runners can touch it, because they're gross. I know, because I am one. So that's a really nice part moving forward. There's hand sanitizer. There's plastic gloves for the food for all the volunteers. Thank you. Water bottle etiquette. What we've been doing now with water bottles is a little bit different too. Used to be the runner would run up and he'd fill himself out of the jug, or he'd grab the pitcher and he'd fill it up. And now what the runner's going to do, he's going to come up with his bottle and he's going to hold it out like this. And the volunteer is going to take a pitcher and fill it up. It's that simple. Don't let the runners touch the pitchers, and you don't have to touch their bottles, because this bottle has got all the same stuff on it that the M&Ms used to have. So,
Those were good M&Ms.
yeah. You don't know good M&Ms until you've had salty M&Ms. Back to the pack runner. Yeah. Drop bags. There's 2 aid stations that have drop bags, and drop bags are bags that runners pack themselves. It's got stuff in there that they think they need. Oftentimes they don't. It's got like clean socks, baby wipes, special food if they have special dietary needs, stuff like that. So McBee Parking, and John is the captain for McBee Parking. He's not here right now. and Jacobs Road, and that's Jack, and he's also not here. He's on his way. Have got drop bags for the runners, and so again, these are bags that they pack themselves. And there's going to be 2 signs at these 2 aid stations. So if you're working either of these aid stations, this is very important. So when the runners first get there, all the drop bags will be in this pile. It says staying here. And so they're going to see their bag multiple times. Now at McBee, the 100 milers will see their bag 4 times. So every time they're going to need their bag again, they know this already. They're supposed to put it back in this pile. That means it's staying. Drop bag staying here. Okay, when they're done and they know they're not going to need their drop bag again, and they are finished the last time they need it, they're supposed to drop it in this pile, and then that means one of our volunteers will grab the drop bags in this pile and bring them back here to the start finish, so they'll be waiting for them at the finish line. So pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how confusing it can be especially for the runners. Runners that are running 50 or 100 miles generally are pretty dumb. They're tired, and they probably haven't been eating enough or drinking enough water. And I know because I'm also one of those. And so they'll get there and they'll forget half the stuff they're supposed to do. And you might want to double check with them to make sure that they're putting their drop bag back in the right pile. That's one of the things that it's their responsibility, but they'll screw it up. Trust me. Blankets and chairs, if you're working an overnight shift, first of all, thank you. We're a little slim on overnight volunteers. We could use some more. And that's when the runners actually need the volunteers the most, is because it's very cold, it's dark, and all I can think about is, why the heck am I doing this? I wish I was dead. Or maybe I'll just drop out and go home and take a shower. But it's your job to keep them moving. And it's also your job to stay comfortable and don't get cold or hypothermic yourself. Bring chairs, bring blankets, bring fun stuff to do to keep yourself occupied, because all of a sudden you'll get a group of 5 or 10 runners and it'll be chaos, and then you'll have another half hour where there's nothing. And you don't want to sit around freezing cold, because then you get in a bad mood, and then the runner gets there and they know you're in a bad mood and everything sucks and they just want to quit. So blankets, and if you've got old nasty dog blankets, like I've got a dog, and half the blankets and towels in my house are gross, so bring those, and you can wrap them around a runner because you don't care what they smell like when you go back home. Old sleeping bags, like sleeping bags your kids have outgrown or they've got holes or something in them, bring those too, and you can help runners in case somebody sits down, they're not feeling well, and then they end up getting a chill. We don't want anybody getting hypothermia. Okay, clipboards. Every aid station's got a clipboard. This is mine. This is start finish. Got a menu. Says exactly on here what food you're supposed to be making for the runners, and they already know this stuff. You can tape this up so they can see it, and also you can remind yourself what you're supposed to be making. And you've got all the ingredients in your ice chest and in your bins. You also have rosters in here. So if you can spare a person to check off as each runner comes through, do that, okay? That'd be great. You don't got to record the time. Just check off that they're alive and they're still moving. And if they've dropped out and they've DNF'd, did not finish, then you need to let your aid station captain or one of the Badger board members know that, so they can report it back, and we can, that way the next aid station knows not to look for them anymore, so they don't think they're missing. If you get super slammed and you've got a lot of runners and you can't spare a volunteer to keep track on the roster, then don't sweat it. Don't worry about it, because this is important, obviously, but taking care of them, keeping them moving forward, making sure there's food and all that stuff ready, that's paramount. So, but if you can spare a body, please do this. Keep track on the roster. There's a roster for the 100 milers. There's a roster for the 50 milers. We have a new event this year called the 50 mile ruck, where they're doing the 50 mile, but they're carrying, because running 50 miles is miserable enough, why not carry 20 or 30 pounds of dead weight on top of that? Okay, so I signed them up. So there's about 20 50 mile ruckers. And then on Saturday, about 20 of the ruckers in the 50 mile, and there's about 20 in the 50K. What? Oh, there's several that are doing both. Yeah, so why not even make it work? And there's also, for the Saturday race, there's a 50K roster also, because the 50K is on Saturday. The 15K is the shortest race, and it just stays on Badger here. And there's a separate director for that. That's Scott from Runner Soul, and he's got his own volunteers and all that stuff. So unless you're working on the 15K, you don't got to sweat it. You're just worrying about the runners going longer distance. So that's the clipboard. Again, try and keep track of who's dropped out, and pass that word on down the line so we know to take them off the list and that they've gone home and that they're not lost somewhere out there in the sagebrush. Okay, where are we at? In the past, if you've worked here before, last year we got rid of McBee Ridge and Field Aid Station. We still don't have those two, just so you know. There used to be 2 aid stations, one called Field, one called McBee Ridge. They're gone. It's still the same arrangement as last year as far as where the aid stations are. Soup. Again, we have 2 kinds of soup. We have butternut squash, which is gluten-free and vegan, and all that. And then, of course, we have chicken noodle, which is not. Chicken noodle is it's canned. If you've never had Campbell's chicken noodle soup, you probably don't know this. You're supposed to mix it with 1 can of water, 1 can of soup. So it comes concentrated. You can actually add a little more than 1 can. So instead of 50-50 water soup, make it even a little more dilute than that, because runners actually like it that way. They don't really like it super strong or super salty. Watered down a little bit, it'll go longer too. It'll last longer that way. Also, another thing that came out of COVID is portion cups. We have a bajillion little paper cups that you can put stuff in. You can put chips or M&Ms in that and set them out so that the runners don't have to put their hand in the bowl. That, of course, and we also have like individually wrapped snacks. We got a lot of individually wrapped stuff, chips, cookies, all that kind of junk. That, of course, generates more garbage. All the aid station gear, you should have a big cardboard box that folds out into a garbage can. Put rocks in the bottom, open it up, put rocks in the bottom, then put a garbage sack in it. That way it won't blow away. But yeah, you can put food, you can put pickles in the baggies, you can put cut up sandwiches, PBJs, quesadillas, whatever you end up making, it's on your menu. Put those in baggies, and then that keeps it from drying out and getting gross. And you can make stuff ahead of time, and you can set it out for the runners to come up while you've got some downtime. Same rule regarding crews as before.
Use you as a rest.
We don't want crews at the aid station. They can come up to close to the aid station, like this close, cheer their runner on, help the runner out, help them with their drop bag, get a chair out, do whatever they want to do. But gone are the days when the crews used to like come into the aid station and stand around because it's just too many people in one spot. Not to mention that people get in the way. So the runners have been told us to keep their crews a little further away than before. If they want to meet someplace else that's not even at an aid station, that's fine. But you know, just so you know, runners can't get into a vehicle. They can't get into a moving vehicle. They can't take anything from a moving vehicle, whatever. So make sure that no one's doing anything stupid, and remind people to follow the rules of the road. I wrote down here, be happy. That was a reminder, I already said that. To remind you people to make it energetic, make it fun, make it your own. Makes the time go by quicker, it's a better experience, and again, the runners will end up loving it that much more. This is like the 3rd year in a row, maybe 4th, we've lucked out on the weather, knock on wood. So the forecast looks amazing. It's going to be down like in the mid-40s tomorrow night, so, but except for Chandler, there shouldn't be any, there shouldn't be much wind at all.
There's no snow this year.
But there's no snow either, yes. It's like 10 degrees warmer this year than last year too. Except up at Chandler, yeah. It's always cold and windy. Yes. Mike's the aid station captain at Chandler, and he is an absolute rock star. He goes out there every year, and he's seen it all. He's seen hail, rain, snow, wind. And then one year we had wind.
Wind.
One year we had sunshine.
Yeah, last year. This year's going to be beautiful, so enjoy. Please make the best of it. There's two kinds of cups in your aid station gear. This sounds silly, but it's important. There's cold cups and hot cups. Hot cups are for soup, coffee, hot water, cocoa, whatever you want to make that's hot. The cold cups are for cold stuff. Don't put hot stuff into the cold cups. The wax will melt. You know, if you've ever experienced that, it's not fun. And don't waste the hot cups on cold drinks, okay? Runners like flat pop. Open up the soda ahead of time. When you get there, open up a couple bottles of each flavor. Let it go flat. Makes it a lot easier to drink. You see, if you haven't got your gear loaded up, I don't know if everybody's got their stuff loaded up already or not. Double check and make sure. We try to do our best to arrange all the gear that we could in the best. If you're missing anything, let the Board of Badger know. There's roaming, what I call my right hands. They're going to be out roaming, checking on the aid stations, and they can get you whatever you need. If you're missing something, if you have trouble lighting your lantern, you can't find something, you can't get your stove lit, something like that, we can exchange phone numbers and all that stuff too. But let your board member know that you need something, you need help, and they'd be happy to help you. But if you're unfamiliar with like how to light a lantern, gear, anything like that, let us know before you go. You should have everything you need. There's the propane cans of gas. There's basically everything all the utensils, cutting boards. You should have everything you need. Almost there. If you're working an overnight shift and you've got a 100-mile runner coming through, and they sit down in the chair and they start whining and they are looking for an excuse to crap out, this is where you step up and you make their day. So this is where you give them your tough love speech, okay? You got to learn, when you look at a 100-mile runner, you can tell if there's a spark there or not. If they still have some fire left, you got to make sure that you rekindle that, you get them going, you get them kicked back out, right, Nicole?
Right.
Yes. They're going to come in, they're going to be looking for sympathy. Don't acknowledge it. This sounds funny, but don't give them a nice, soft, comfortable place to lean back and go to sleep. You want to get them in and get them out. And if they say, oh, you know, my feet hurt, say, great, let's get you some soup. How about some soup? Would you like some soup, or would you like a quesadilla? And they say, no, my gut hurts. You know, I haven't been able to eat for the last 15, 20 miles, and I barfed. And they say, okay, great, let's get you some soup. How about you know, or would you like, you know, something else, some gummy bears or something like that? Right.
You're here.
Yeah.
You're eating this now.
Yes. Ian's an aid station captain.
At that point, they're not going to make decisions. Don't give them, hey, do you want this, or this?
They're going to
You
say,
just
no,
go
I don't
here.
want any of it. You're right. Hand it to them. If they throw up all over it, then get them another one. Here's a different sandwich. Right. He has been aid station captain all his, he's like his career as an aid station captain. So listen to him, he knows. First thing you're going to say is they're not hungry. And one trick that aid station volunteers and captains know is when a runner comes in, say, let me see your garbage. If they don't have any garbage, that means they haven't been eating anything. So guess what? You're going to eat something. They'll say, oh, I'm not hungry. Don't care, right?
Take it for the road.
Yeah, being cold, being awake for that long, moving that slow, doing that many miles, especially on these hills, out in the dust and the sun, they're zapping calories right and left, and they don't know it, but their blood sugar and their attitude is going to go right in the toilet real quick. So make sure that they are eating if they don't want to. Get some sugar, get some protein into them as best you can. If you're doing an overnight shift, this is especially true because you're going to see it in spades. Just get them to sunrise. If you can get them to sunrise, just when the sun's starting to like peek over the horizon, you see that little band of light, they're home free. Because that will recharge the batteries, and it'll be like, it's amazing how good you feel when the sun starts to come up. It comes out and it hits your face. It's just like, it completely recharges you and you feel like $1,000,000. Just get them through the night. Just say, just get to the next aid station. You know, oh God, I got 30 miles to go. No, you don't. You only got 4 miles to go to the next aid station. And here's some soup. Shut up and eat it. Right? Right. I don't care if you throw up. Eat some more. That means that if your gut's all rotten, it's because you're not taking in enough calories. Again, keep it peppy and upbeat. Try and make fun. As much fun as you can. All right. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Anybody got any questions at all?
I'm new, so you said something about communication with the other aid stations.
Uh-huh.
How does that happen? I'm 6 miles from somewhere.
So for the
This is Todd. He's one of my right hands. Way smarter than I am.
aid station captains, if we can grab you for a second, all the aid station captains, we've got a group chat, a WhatsApp group chat that'll allow just the aid station captains to keep in touch, and that'll be, you know, for your out of stuff, and that way you guys can coordinate back and forth with each other a little bit easier without needing to ask Jason and have him answer you in 6 hours after you've already figured it out. So,
Bad idea.
yeah. So the idea is that if we get you on that group chat, and then the aid stations, all the aid station captains will be able to talk to one another. It's pretty easy to go mute a conversation when it gets boring, but you can also relay information about folks who dropped and everything else. If you need we call them dead bodies, but if you got a runner drop and you need them picked up, so all that kind of information too. So yeah.
You and I are also in that WhatsApp. It's not just the aid station.
Yeah,
captains,
no,
and
yeah,
it'd
that's a
be
good point. Yeah,
pointless if it was-
yeah. It's got Allison in there, and it's got me. So it's got someone who's nice, and then it's got me.
Generally, what we'll do with that is, you know, every year we seem to, you know, best planning, we'll always seem to run short on something somewhere, you know. And so as we start getting down low, hey, we're running out of chips, and it's only Friday afternoon. It's like, hey, we're running out of chips. You may not get them, it may be a few hours, because they got everything else to deal with, but they'll resupply, so we can kind of keep track of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, keep an eye on like what you've got and what you're running low on. You shouldn't run low. You shouldn't run out. We've tried our best to stock everybody better than we used to, and then sort of run out a lot. But we've tried to get
Did
better
good last
at.
year.
Was that?
Did good last year.
Thank you. We bought even more this year, right?
Yes.
We bought a lot. So hopefully we won't, but keep an eye out. If you're making quesadillas all night long and you're running out of cheese or tortillas or something, first step you do is go look to see if you have more, because you'd be surprised.
So volunteers are stupid too.
No, I didn't say that. You inferred it. No, it happens. Sometimes people don't look in a bin and move something. Oh, there's another big pile of tortillas or something. So, right?
Yes.
Back me up here.
I have gone to aid stations and found the thing I was asked to bring in a bin for that aid station. I couldn't find it anywhere, but I found the cheese you were looking for right here in the bag. It looked like cheese.
That's labeled cheese.
Yeah.
Are there spare batteries for people who ask? Or
Yeah, we have double and AAA batteries in baggies.
and,
Yeah.
And I think someone asked a couple of days ago about the salt pills. Are there?
Yeah, we do we put
We put S caps or electrolyte tabs in every bin or every
Okay.
aid station.
What if a runner says they plan on taking a nap?
That's fine. If they want to take a nap, that's fine. The very first aid station I ever worked was in 2009. It was over in Snoqualmie Pass at a race, an 100-miler, and I didn't know what I was in for, and I worked an overnight shift. And good question. About 3 a.m., this runner comes in, and she looked like death warmed over. She looked terrible. She just came in like this. She looked awful, and she fell in this chair, and she grabbed a sandwich, and she didn't say she was dropping. And one of the volunteers went over and threw a blanket on her, and I thought, well, she's done. And that's all she wrote. Whatever, this is like a 1, 2 in the morning or something. Hour and a half later, and I'm still making sandwiches and trying to stay awake and drinking, my 8th cup of coffee. She gets up and she pulls the blanket off and she kind of walks over to the aid station and she grabs like some more food and she goes, "Thank you." And she took off and left, and I was just standing there going, freaking kidding me? You can sleep during these things? So yeah, but when they come in, they say, "I'm gonna drop." That's when you got to give them the tough love speech and get them the heck out of Dodge and keep them moving. Because the longer they sit, the colder they get, the more they want to go home. So it's kind of a perpetual thing. You have to get them in, get them out, get them warmed up. If you're at an aid station with a drop bag, make sure they're taking time to clean up their feet. The trails are very dusty. We marked the whole course over the course of this week. And I did one trip through what we call the Jeep trails on the backside of Goose Hill. And my feet were just black by the time I was done. So make sure they're taking time to change socks, baby wipe their feet, put some warm clothes on if they're cold. If you're working at McBee Parking, which is out in Benton City, they've got a monster climb ahead of them. As soon as they leave McBee Parking, they go straight up 1,000 feet up onto the ridge. It could be like nice and toasty warm and just like this, cozy at the bottom, and up on top, the wind is blowing and it's 10 degrees colder. So make them take a jacket. You know, you got to think for them because, you know, like I said, they're not always right in the head. So make sure they know what they're in for. The sun's going down. You know, you got your headlamp, you got some batteries, you got some backup batteries, you got your jacket, you got all this stuff, and have some soup. Some more soup. So, yes. Okay. Did I miss anything? You think of anything? No? Okay, have you listened?
Probably. I don't know. Was it
This is Allison, the volunteer coordinator. She's got the toughest job out of all of them. Does anybody else have any questions at all?
So that was actually my first question was who's Allison? I'm Jose. I've been emailing with her quite a bit. So if the McBee captain is not here, who do we get with to figure it out? Because we're doing the night shift and we've never done a race before.
You're gonna have a lot of fun. So, you guys in the Jeep Club?
Yeah.
Thank you for helping out. Thank you for joining us. Thank you everybody too. Who's new here? Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, I started volunteering at races in 09. I started running them in 2010. And this is one of my absolute favorite things to do. It's the coolest group of people you'll ever meet. Everybody just wants to help everybody else. Any other kind of road race or triathlon or anything like that, they're competing against each other and they don't care about the other guy. Trail runners are a different breed. Everything sucks so bad that they know that they're just out there to help each other to get to the finish line. They're going to support one another. I've seen people sacrifice their races to help another runner because like I said, it's damn tough. It's really hard, but they've got it in them. You just got to make sure that they keep moving, keep eating, keep drinking, and take care of your feet. That's why I bark at everybody over and over and over. Don't care if it doesn't feel like it. Eat, drink, take care of your feet. Thank you for being here very much.
Yeah. So he actually had a question.
I don't know what your question was.
So if the McBee captain's not here, who do we get with?
John's not here right now.
No, he's already
Okay.
gone. Yeah.
You can talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to bounce. He had the thing at home, but he already got his stuff and boogie earlier.
Same question for the Jacobs Road. I'm Margaret.
And Jack's not here right
Yeah,
now.
Jack will be here like at 9. He's driving from Spokane. So
Yeah, you can.
Come on there.
Yeah, you can talk to Allison
You
or
can sit in with their conversation.
Yeah.
you can talk to Allison or I, and we can hook you up with what you need. But everything will be out there and ready for
Right,
you.
yeah. You don't need to take anything out there except for what you want to bring for yourself, but your comfort.
Okay.
yeah. You want a camper? Oh yeah. Yeah. Where are you gonna be at?
Somewhere.
Who's this?
Gray's got a camper, so go crash with him.
Everybody's
Well, and that was one of my questions is that if we're at McBee, it's pretty remote, obviously, and we were looking at bringing a fifth wheel in.
Yes.
But is the captain bringing one?
He's got a smaller
Okay.
camper.
Little tiny thing.
And we've also got a cargo trailer up there too for like a windbreak, and if
Okay.
it gets bad, we can throw dead people in there.
All right.
To sleep or something.
Just stack them up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I was just worried about like, would there be room to?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, oh
There's
yeah.
a couple porta potties up there too.
Oh, okay.
If you've got a fire pit,
Yep. Propane fire pit.
whatever, yeah. What you want to watch out for is runners doing this, and staring at the fire. Yeah. The volunteers can do that, but get the runners the hell out of there. That's fine. Okay. Anybody questions?
Whose private property do we have to drive over to get to Orchard?
There is an easement on the road to get up there.
Captain, I'll talk to you. I'll show you how to get there.
Yeah, he's the man. He's been up there every year. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Shirts.
Oh, shirts.
Shirts are going to the aid station. I just divvied them out evenly between each aid station and then put them into bags for different sizes, and you can dig through. At your leisure, if you can't find one that's your size, go up, because we have lots of big ones.
So for Michael and Ian, we've got your shirts right here. Everyone else will get yours tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I head up at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
You like to get set up.
I got a big kit.
Yeah.
You got to get the circus animals up there.
Okay. Anyone else at all, or no? Thank you again. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate this. I guarantee you're gonna have a fun weekend. You're gonna get cold and dirty, and you're gonna question your sanity and what led me to this point in my life. At one point, but it'll be worth it in the long run. It's a blast. Again, everybody is super cool and supportive. If you've got any questions, please ask. One other thing, in the past, we've had bad weather, which hopefully we don't this year, but in the past, some runners got cold, or some volunteers, excuse me, got cold and miserable and just abandoned ship. They just left. So please don't do that. Communicate, like if your relief person is late, if their relief person is supposed to show up as late, or
Yeah.
what do they do? Just contact or
Yeah, contact me, I guess, and
yeah.
I mean, not I guess, contact me and I'll do what I can. I'll send.
We'll find
I'll send a
somebody
board
to
member
fill
or
in.
somebody.
Like if you got to take off and go to work, or go home and go to bed or something like that, and your relief person overslept, communicate. Don't just say, "Oh, the hell with this," and leave. So please, because the runners need you. You know, it's about their safety and about them finishing something amazing. Because there's nothing cooler than seeing somebody finish their first 100-miler. It's the coolest thing ever to witness. If you want to come back here and see the finish line, anytime after you're done, please do. Okay, one more thing. You're going to have big waves of runners come through, and then you're going to have long dead periods too. If you're working a morning shift, all the runners start out at the same time. They're all going to be bunched together. So obviously, you know, like Candy Mountain and Jacobs Road, they're going to get all those runners are going to come blasting through at once. But they're all going different speeds. So when they come back, it's an out and back course. So when they come back, they're going to be all spread out. So obviously we need fewer people at that time, fewer volunteers, but the runners are going to be coming through in a trickle. There'd be like one every 5 minutes, and then a group of 3 or 4, and then a long span of nothing. So keep that in mind. And then on Saturday morning, of course, the 50K starts. Same thing happens all over again. Get a big water runners come through because they all start at 7 a.m. and then they'll come trickling back through. So keep that in mind when you have personnel issues. So if you think you're short on people, speak up.
Yep, please, I need to know that information.
What's that?
What's the spacing on the start waves?
About 5 minutes. So we're going to see how fast we can get them through. But everybody's got a chip on their bib, so it doesn't really matter when they start, just so you know, because their clock doesn't start until they cross the starting line. So if anybody asks you or whatever, start time's really not important. But we're going to try and start them in waves, and maybe next year, hopefully everything will be kind of back to normal, whatever that is, and we can have one great big mass group start. But you never know. I'm just happy that we can have this event. So thank y'all. Speak up if you got any questions. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Okay. Thank you.